You are.
Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this young lady back. It is Cray News with Kay on a Monday. It's Kay Smythe. Hi, Kay.
I'm so happy to be back. Thank you. How
So
are
happy to
you?
have you back. Yeah, it's really good to see you. I'm doing great. And I know that you've got time constraints. Everybody wants Kay to come and talk about the solar eclipse. Now, I'm not in North Carolina, so I don't know if you guys were in the line of it at all. But here in Texas, we were allegedly in the line to the point, Kay, where thousands of people showed up clogging our roads here in small town Texas just to see a 2-minute glimpse of clouds. So we had nothing but cloud cover, saw a little bit of the eclipse. It got very dark, almost pitch black. But what happened in North Carolina?
We got like that sort of 7 p.m. shade. So we were not in the path of totality. The path of totality kind of went from Texas through up to, I think, Maine, up into Canada. I
Do you
think that
understand how
was
cool it sounds when you say the path of totality? Say that again.
the path of totality.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, so you guys were not in the path of totality. I sound like a dork saying it, but you got like a 7 p.m. darkness, yeah?
Yeah, we got like a haze. It was the funniest thing because I had been out in the garden anyway because we have to move, so I have to pack everything, and that includes the garden, which is
Yes.
what people forget when like no one tells you that when you move into a house. So you also have to pack up the garden.
Right. Bring your garden.
Nightmare.
What's wrong with
Hate
you?
being a grown up. But I was out in the garden, went back inside. John came home, and all of a sudden. I mean, all of our animals are pretty weird anyway. Like they all have a lot of big personalities.
Yes.
But Stan, our dog, she freaks out during storms. Like she's not a great guard dog by any means. I have never seen the behavior she exhibited ever
Wow.
before. And I was there giving it large. Like, I've seen so many eclipses. Like, I don't care. I've seen it all, been there, done that, got the t shirt. I got other stuff to worry about.
Right.
Wonky, one of our cats, he is a Siamese, so he's extremely loud. And he does tend to just go and scream randomly whenever he wants, wherever he wants. But he was doing definitely lots of extra screaming. He also seems weirdly healthier. Like, I don't know if you've ever been
Wow.
around a purebred Siamese cat, but they are not
Have not.
well. They are
I'm
not well
allergic.
animals. Oh, of course you are.
Yes.
But he seems to be like healthier as a result of the eclipse. So
Wow.
I feel like I ate my words today. It
Well,
was
a
yeah.
couple of things. First of all, don't spend $4,000 to go somewhere if the forecast says it's going to be haze and cloud cover. We saw very little of it here, but we had, again, an influx of doofuses from everywhere. Secondly,
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about this. I think kids should be in school on a day like
Yes.
this so you can teach them
Mm-hmm.
what we're seeing and why we're seeing it. Although it was a fun event at the house, I think that maybe the educator should educate on these days. But you've got all these doctorates, and you're this super, special, smart, sciencey, geographical person. Is it as simple as the moon just happens to run between the path of the sun and the earth? Is that simply what just happened today?
Yeah, firstly, I want to clarify. I don't have any of my own doctorates. I used to ghostwrite other people's for
So,
a
but
short
you
while.
so you've achieved many doctorates, just not in your own name.
No, I've never been to school for a doctorate.
Okay,
Total waste of money, if you ask me.
I hear you.
But if
Is
you
that what
want
it
one, I
is?
can still write them. So pretty much, yeah. The sun, obviously everyone knows how it all lines up.
Yes.
Though a friend of mine, Jimmy Corsetti, who a lot of people, if you're into sort of like ancient
The Y
civilizations.
files, right?
Oh no, Jimmy is he's bright insight on social
Oh,
media.
okay. All right.
The last time he went seriously viral, I think, was he was on Joe Rogan talking about mainly Atlantis. So he is the guy to go to if you want to learn
Okay.
about contemporary theories on Atlantis, which is really cool because like you talk to anyone who doesn't know anything about this stuff and they look at you like you're crazy, and it's like no, pretty much we can figure out where it was now, including like actual map data. But Jimmy posted this thing on Twitter or X or whatever the heck it's called this week, describing the absolute perfection that has to take place in our cosmos for us to be able to see an eclipse on Earth, and the sort of like distance, and how perfectly everything lines up. And I think a lot of people, especially in like the sort of conspiracy theory community, who are a great bunch of people. I actually know a doctor of science who
Wow.
did a study, or he's in the middle of a study that is essentially at this point proving that conspiracy theorists are the least violent demographic. Like we just like to talk about stuff. Like
Right. We just like to know stuff.
it's pretty cool. But and literally the opposites of a terrorist, which is awesome to know. Uh,
Good extra information on a Monday. So what does he say
Whoa.
about are there conspiracies about why
Oh,
the solar
yeah.
eclipse happened? Because it's just happenstance. I mean, this sphere has this revolution and has this, path around the sun and has this path around the earth, and they just happen to every once in a while, several years apart, line up, right?
Well, I think the conspiracy theorists look at it from the perspective of, okay, this is like too perfect of a design. There's also like a lot of ancient texts that refer to a time before the moon. And we sort of note in a lot of the depictions we find in sort of solar calendars, things like that throughout history, there isn't that much in terms of reference to the moon as there are to other planets in the solar system, which is also kind of mind blowing. But we also have to go in with the caveat that ancient civilizations, if they didn't have electricity as we know it, if they had no form of electricity, they got to see the skies in a way that most of us, particularly most Americans, will never see in real life. So that's where most of the conspiracy theories come from. It's this idea that the moon isn't like the same as other planets, like it was put there by like aliens or some ancient civilization or one of those sorts of things. And yeah, like on the other side of that, we have the scientists who say, oh, well, it's just like an amazing twist of fate that the moon exists. And I just sort of sit there in the middle, just like, guys, you're both wrong. It's God, but you're
That's
all
right.
good.
It's
Okay.
it's Kay Smythe. Go to ksmythe.com. You see her on Newsmax. You read her stuff on Daily Caller. Just one last thing on this. I don't know if you've seen this video. I've now posted a video on Instagram and on TikTok about this. Sunny Hostin on The View. Did you see this?
I don't watch
She
her.
literally. Well,
Ew.
I don't either. I'm a man. I'm not allowed to watch. But you're allowed to watch. I'm glad that you choose not to.
Thank you.
She literally. Now this is a woman that will every day give you her resume, and she'll say, I have the accreditation to go and argue cases in front of the Supreme Court. This brainiac today said, we just saw the earthquake and now the solar eclipse, and I guess the lesson is climate change exists. Now, Kay, Whoopi Goldberg might be the dumbest person on television, and Joy Behar, one of the nastiest people you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
They both fact-checked her in real time. They both said, what are you talking about? Earthquakes are under the earth. Climate has nothing to do with it. And Whoopi says, they predicted this like 50 years ago that the eclipse was going to happen. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, you talk about a conspiracy. The only conspiracies I've heard about the solar eclipse is that somehow it has to do with climate. Have you heard this mess?
No, but that sounds like
How
just
stupid
the
is
kind
that?
of vomit I expect from The View. Like how embarrassing. You know what's kind of crazy though? Like hate to drop a kind of wrench in this. Don't worry, I'm not going to endorse anything she said. That's
Please
absolute
don't.
garbage.
Please don't.
But there may be, I think, over the course of certainly the rest of our lifetimes, we will probably figure out that there is a cosmic interaction between plate tectonics and the alignment of other mass, like
Well, I
other
wouldn't
large
doubt that. I mean,
celestial
our
bodies.
our tides are because of the moon. So I don't doubt that. It's just it's not literally climate.
No, I mean, climate has literally nothing to do with it. Like, climate is a completely different thing. Like, the only thing that I think cosmically, the only things cosmically that would influence climate precession, so sort of like the way that we go around the sun, we call it tilt, wobble, and shift in the UK. I can't remember what the
Really?
scientific terms are, but it's because the Earth is on a tilt, it wobbles on that tilt, and it shifts the way that it goes around the sun. So,
And
like,
I think
sometimes we go like this.
we
And
call it
sometimes we
shake
go like this, and then
shake
sometimes
rattle
we go
and
like
roll
this.
in America. Shake rattle and
Shake,
roll.
round, and roll. I'm pretty sure that's a Beatles song, but okay.
It wasn't. I think it was a Jerry Lee Lewis song. I think shake rattle and roll. Yeah, that was. I think no, that might have been. It was actually Bill Haley in the Comets because he was the first rock and roll guy. I think.
And it was called Comets. Okay, that's cool.
Bill
because
Haley in the
next thing I
Comets.
was gonna say,
Hello,
literally,
hello, conspiracy.
the next thing I was going to say was the only thing that can influence climate to that degree from space is literally an asteroid impact. So
There you
yeah,
go.
that's pretty funny.
It all comes full circle with Kay Smythe. Let's go to the hurricane season, which is all that is about climate, by the way. So hurricane season off to a frenzy, you say?
They say this every year, every single year, every
Every
single
year.
year, every
We're
year.
all going to die this year because of climate, right?
But I will say, like, having now been covering stories about hurricane season, that's kind of like my thing at the Daily Caller, because I get extremely aggressive when anyone else tries to write stories where I'm like, no, I'm the scientist. I love my weather stuff. But it is traumatic. Like, there's this thing called like secondary trauma, which all of us have from reading and watching the news. Every journalist has it. Every writer has it. If you're in nonfiction and you're writing about the news, you have it to a certain degree with the coverage that you have to do. That is absolutely nothing. Like, it pales in comparison to the impact of an extreme weather event, not just on the physical, like obviously people die in these situations, but the mental toll that those things take. And, you know, we can sit back and forth and argue with the lefties about like, oh, you know, weather's getting more extreme. We haven't been here long enough to know that. Like, shut up.
Right.
The fact of the matter is there are more of us living in places where our infrastructure is not designed to cope with Mother Nature. It's not even designed to live in symbiosis with it. It's literally designed to be the antithesis of working with nature.
Well, I want to stop you because I got to ask you now, because that just it hit my brain, and my brain went, well, wait a second, ask her this. Elon Musk is on record saying we should have like 11 billion more people on the earth. So is he out of line, do you think, according to what you just said? I mean, we've got more people in smaller places. That climate was not made to deal with that many people in the same place. So
Well, no, I
is he
I
right?
disagree.
Do you think,
No,
can we have 11 billion more people?
Yeah, we can, but I
Really?
disagree that humans are part of nature, right? Like,
Yes.
up until less than 100 years ago, like they always say that the reason the granny survived the depression was because she had a garden. Granny didn't bother to teach most of her kids how to garden. The next generation doesn't
Right.
have a clue, which would be sort of my generation into the next generation, and they can't even read,
Right.
let alone garden. So yeah, we can have as many people on the planet as we want, but we have to do it in such a way that we live in symbiosis with the planet. So like all these people
Follow
running
up.
around going like, let's go green. No, green energy doesn't have anything to do with it.
Right.
Like, we just
Follow
have
up,
to
though.
use less.
I've got to follow, because you're making my brain go nuts today, Kay. Bill Gates, Jane and Goodall, John Kerry. These people all think we've got too many people. We need to start culling the herd.
Do you trust them?
Billions of people should die.
Do you trust them? They literally, like,
No,
I don't know
I
anything about Jane
don't.
Goodall.
But I wonder, like, you're very smart, and I believe you. Elon Musk is very smart, and I believe him. I think that the Earth can take more people. I don't think that we're at some existential threat because of too many people. But then you've got these people who are very, very rich, who are pinheads of the WEF, all talking about lessening the population. Why do you think that is?
Well, because the way that our population currently operates, we can't add more people. Like, we have to fundamentally change everything, every single thing, other than maybe like one or two things off the top of my head: animal agriculture and gardens.
Right.
The only two that come, literally the only two things that I think still work. But we have to completely fundamentally change the way we do society. So like, we have to have less people if certain people want to keep being greedy. So like, you look at your
Gotcha.
Bill Gates, right? He's got like millions of dollars, billions, probably dollars
Billions.
worth of
Yeah.
land, homes, property. He has
Keeps
every
buying it too,
resource.
yeah.
He can buy people today if he wants to buy people. Like, he has that kind of money.
Yes.
So most of us don't have that kind of money, but most of us still want the freedom and opportunity to be able to order pretty much anything on our phones and have it delivered the same day. You can't have that if you want to add 11 billion people to the planet. You cannot exist in that level of greed. You have to accept that you will live with less stuff, that you may not have the same kind of, like, I mean, I'm not talking about going like a full communist society, because that also doesn't have
I
to
would hope
happen
not.
for us to live in symbiosis with the planet. Communism doesn't work, facts.
Right.
But I think that, like, we have to get rid of the frivolousness. One phone that does everything. Does it work? Does it call people? Does it go on the internet? Does it do all that kind of stuff? Great, cool. You got that one phone. Guess what? We're going to make batteries. These batteries are solar powered, or you can have like wind up batteries. I don't know. I don't care. That's not for me to figure out. Different type of science.
It would
But
be
like,
funny
one
with a
phone
wind-up
that
battery,
works
though.
for everything that lasts. We need to be taking every single scrap vehicle, scrap piece of technology we have, and stripping everything for parts and reusing it. We are a throwaway society.
I agree with all that,
And that
yeah.
is why we're dying. So yeah.
But I don't
that's
want
where we're at.
capitalism to go away.
Well, you don't have to get rid of capitalism because you still need innovation. You
Okay.
still need innovation to live with the sort of ever-changing dynamics of the world. Like the planet is still going to shift in its climate. Like the sea levels are going to change. We're still
Yes.
going to get like glaciers retreating and growing. We're still going to have creativity. We're still going to have this beautiful, wonderful mind that God gave us that we want to create art. We want to create fun, incredible systems. Capitalism allows that to happen. Capitalism allows creation and art and innovation, and that's why all these
Yes.
ugly leftist girls with their, like, I got a nose ring, I've had funny colored hair, whatever. I'm not getting rid of the nose ring, but like, the ones I'm talking about, the ones that
I
like I
do.
don't even know what they look like. They scream about capitalism, and it's just like, B word, capitalism is the reason that you're allowed to go off and be like an art studies gender
Right.
major, like with a minor in misery. I don't even know.
I have my
But yeah,
minor in misery. Yeah, I do.
like who funds most of the arts? Capitalists, billionaire
Exactly.
philanthropists.
Okay, I know you have to go, but not before you explain this guy. Explain what his problem is. Miss Morgan Wallen over here. Yeah, you got a lot. I still could not tell you one song the guy does, but now felonies. He's charged with felonies. What happened?
I've sent you so many of his songs. So I don't know. I have a lot of conspiracy
We're
theorists,
talking about
but
Morgan Wallen, by the way.
Morgan Wallen reportedly threw a chair off of Eric Church's bar roof yesterday in downtown Nashville on Broadway. It was right in the middle of the CMT Awards. I think it's
Wow.
very telling that obviously the most successful man in country music, actually in music, full stop right now, but in country music, CMT didn't even want to like deal with him. I think he was nominated for like one award. So he was arrested. His attorneys have confirmed that he got in a lot of trouble. He paid his bail. All the reports that I've read say, yeah, it's 3 felony counts for throwing the chair off the roof,
Dude.
which is like, I've literally seen people shoot up heroin in the middle of Broadway in Nashville, which feels extreme. But the fact he did it, I'm like, you're either an absolute clown show or you just gave your best friend the most insane PR to the point where you messed up your own life. Like you might not be able to go on tour in other countries. Like you might not be able to go to Britain to go on tour because of what you just did. But I know millions of women are going to go to Eric Church's bar and they're going to be like, oh my God, this is where Morgan Wallen threw this chair.
Wow.
You know?
If that's what it is, that's pretty gross. I'll be honest with you. But hey, it works. We're all talking about him, right?
So messed up.
Kay, we missed you. I'm glad that you're back. You're looking great. You're sounding great. Great information as always. Go follow her, dailycaller.com. Also follow her on Newsmax TV and right here on my show. Kay, thanks.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Joe. That was
all
great.
Right. We're back after this. Stay right here.